Happy New Year. I'm Dr. Marcia Sirota, and today I want to talk about New Year's resolutions. I think the best New Year's resolution this year is to become kind. And being kind means being kind to yourself and to others. So I'm going to break them down. Being kind to yourself means looking at yourself honestly and with clarity, but not using what you see to beat yourself up. So forgiving yourself for your mistakes, being gentle with yourself around some of the issues that you have, and forgiving, all the things that you might have done that you feel embarrassed about or guilty about or ashamed of, because, there's always a reason why we do these things. Usually they're coming from a place of hurt, a place of fear, a place of not understanding, sometimes from a place of trauma. And certainly in the last couple of years, there's been a lot of that stuff. So if we can be more kind and loving and accepting and forgiving toward ourselves, then that will really make things so much easier. Plus, with that loving kindness attitude toward yourself, that's where you change. That's where you are able to feel that space to make different kinds of choices moving forward. If you beat yourself up, you shut down, and it's impossible to change because you're so busy feeling bad that you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. You can't see a way through. But if you are kind to yourself, if you are forgiving and loving towards yourself, then you can go, that behavior I was engaging in or that thing that I did, that's not okay. I don't want to be that person. I don't want to do that thing anymore. How can I change? And then you seek out solutions. And that loving kindness attitude is what creates the possibility for growth and evolution within yourself. Now, being kind to others sometimes is a little bit more difficult because there's so much polarization right now. There's so many people who are walking around angry and upset. Well, again, this has been a very traumatic period of time. And the last couple of years have really created a lot of stress and a lot of tension. And a lot of people are feeling very kind of not themselves. They're angry, they're fed up, they're irritable, they're impatient, they're intolerant. And it's not because they've lost their kindness, but it's because they're so stressed that the kindness got buried on top of all their reactivity. They're reacting to this difficult time, and it's made them less capable of accessing that loving kindness within themselves. So I'm inviting everyone to find that resource within yourself, that font of loving kindness within. And if you tap into that and you find it, then it can overflow outward and create this beautiful ripple effect where one kind act spreads to others. And I'll give you an example. Let's say you go on the bus and the bus driver is very grumpy because maybe the person before you was rude to them. And you say, "Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. Stay safe," as you're getting off the bus. And then the bus driver feels happy and feels connected and feels like, there are good people in the world. And so then the next person who comes on the bus driver says, "Good morning, come on in." And the person goes, "Wow, that's so nice." And then that person smiles at someone standing next to them. And that person who's receiving the smile goes, "Wow, people are really nice." And then they got off the bus and they smile and chat up some other person. And then that creates this paying it forward kind of smiling, friendly, kind-hearted attitude that can spread like wildfire all across the community. So we should never underestimate how one small act of kindness can affect millions of people, really, if it keeps spreading, without stopping. And if we keep being kind, then anyone who wants to interfere with that, they won't be able to, because the kindness will overwhelm all the negativity. And that's what we want to do. And that's what being a kindness warrior is. We're going to just blanket the world with kindness and just wipe out all the negativity. And I think it's possible if we really keep trying. So being kind to others means, speaking to a stranger, helping them out, doing a favor to a friend without expecting something in return, being a little bit more patient with a loved one who might be getting on your nerves because you're spending too much time indoors with them. Being a little more understanding toward a colleague who's having their own difficulties during the pandemic. Being kind does not mean putting up with anything that doesn't feel right to you. It just means opening your heart a little bit more and coming from a place of love rather than suspicion or irritability or resentment. And also it's about not taking out your bad mood on other people. For sure, a lot of us have been feeling down. It's been a very hard time, but that doesn't mean it's okay to dump it out on others. They didn't make the pandemic. They didn't create this thing. Now, and even if they are people who might be making bad choices and possibly even perpetuating the pandemic, again, it doesn't really work to be getting angry at them and attacking them, because it's not going to change their behavior. People change their behavior from a place of being understood and accepted and appreciated, not from a place of being yelled at and attacked and insulted and criticized. We need to understand that leading with love is the way we're going to change the world, and being kind to ourselves and kind to one another is really the beginning of it all. And being kind really comes from that place of ruthless compassion, which means that we don't act like doormats. We don't put up with anything that's not okay, but we are kind first. We lead with kindness. We lead with love and caring and understanding and acceptance and tolerance and really good wishes for others. We don't lead with that resentment, suspicion, hostility, close-mindedness. And being kind is not about ever having no boundaries, accepting mistreatment, trying too hard to be pleasing. It's really about loving ourselves enough that that love within overflows outward to others. We have so much self-love that it just pours outward and just blankets the world with kindness. We can do all sorts of little small acts of kindness that make a huge, huge impact, because one person takes it to the next person, and they take it to a bunch of people, and then they take it to a bunch of people, and it just becomes like this exponential growth of kindness. And imagine how the world will be with more kindness. So there's no reason to make any other resolution this new year than to be kind to yourself and to each other. Because being kind to yourself also means taking care of yourself, your mental well-being, your physical well-being, creating better habits, because that's part of being kind to yourself. And being kind to others means caring about what's going on for them, caring about human rights, caring about, how they're doing. And so it really will change your life, and it will change the world for the better. So I invite all of you to resolve to be more kind in 2022 and see how big the ripple effect can be. I'm Dr. Marcia Sirota. Please follow my podcast, my YouTube videos, and my blog, and subscribe to my newsletter. You can find everything on my website, marciasirotamd.com. And again, I wish you a very happy, healthy, and safe new year.